Hello. So, I made a video about how to make friends. Now that you have friends, we're going to talk about how to be a better friend and how to maintain your relationship with a friend, right? It starts here, right? You have to have respect, right? Respect, mutual respect between two people is at the foundation of every relationship, okay? You have to have respect for them and they have to have respect for you. So, if you want to be a better friend, start with respecting people, right? You want to be dependable. You want someone you can rely. They can rely on you to be dependable and there for them, right? You don't want to be flaky with your friends, right? You want to be supportive. You don't want to bog people down, right? People have dreams and aspirations, and you want to lift them up. You don't want to bring people down. You want to elevate your friends. Okay. You also want to be fun and interesting. It's a friendship, right? It's about being a little carefree and living in the moment and just goofing around, making jokes, going places. Like say you like roller coasters, well, you go on roller coasters and be exciting, right? And you can be a boring person, but as long as you're fun being boring, right? As long as you're more mellow tempered. I say boring because I'm a thrill seeking person, right? So I see it as boring, but you do whatever you like, right? Find friends that fit you and your style, right? Also, all of these things are what you should look for in a friend, right? You should look for a respectful friend, a dependable friend, a supportive friend, a friend who's fun and interesting to you or whatever you like, right? And I'm sure there's a lot more to friendship, but you know, this is what I thought up real quick. Now, how do you have a relationship? You have give and take with your friends, right? There's transactional parts of a relationship, right? Let's say they really need your help with something. Okay, well, you got to go help them. Or let's say you need their help so they can come help you, right? Or just like I'll hit you back with 20 bucks. They're in a bit of a bind. They need 20 bucks. Something like that, right? There has to be a give and take. You don't want to be a taker, right? If you take from people, then you're just using people, right? But if you're always giving to people and they don't give to you, right? You don't get to take it all. They're using you. And you don't want to be used. Don't be a tool for nobody, okay? You got to spend time together, right? you gotta you gotta foster the relationship. There has to be a bond, right? You gotta build an emotional bond, right? So you can do this through any matter of means, right? You gotta find your shared interests with somebody, and then you can go and then spend time together at those shared interests. Like if you got hobbies, or even just like you just hang out at their house and bullshit, or you watch a movie or something, right? Things that both interest you that you can spend together and form emotional closeness, right? That is another thing that I should write. I'm actually going to write that. Emotional attachment, right? If you really want to be a super friend, you should learn about attachment theory, right? Because everybody from their childhood has an attachment style, right? You can be ideally you're secure and you had a good childhood and your nervous system is regulated, but most these days people are not very attached, right? They're anxious, so they're clingy, right? They need you to regulate their nervous system for them because they didn't really get they were too dependent on people for that, or they're avoidant, so they just want to be by themselves. They isolate themselves. They want to take care of themselves. They're hyper independent, which is actually, it's a double edged sword. Both these provide something for them, right? And they're survival mechanisms. Or you're disorganized, where you're both, where you've had a really traumatic childhood. And understanding that about people and your friends and what they've been through and how they attach to you is a good way to be a better friend. You want to be a better friend? Understand how attachment theory works. Get a little psychological knowledge if you're really that devoted to being a good friend, right? And also, you gotta have boundaries with your friends, right? I'll give you an example about me not having boundaries, right? I had a friend, and make a lot of, uh, he'd make a lot of jokes sexually towards me, and that's fine. I think it's funny, and most people do in our culture. Let's just be real here, but they'd go a little too far, and I didn't say anything with that, and it made me uncomfortable, right? It made me uncomfortable, and I didn't set a boundary there, right? Protect yourself from people. That's not to say they have malice or ill intent, but like, let's say here's your heart, right? There's your little heart, right? The heart can only take so much, so you want to protect it, right? And you only let people into where you want, but you don't need this over here. This is, this is that they're not respecting you, or they're doing something that makes you uncomfortable. You don't need that. So you tell them, hey, blah blah makes me uncomfortable. I don't like that. Can you please stop? Or, hey, could you think about maybe trying this in a different way? And then you can be like, okay. Now, if they respect you, right? Respect, right? That's why respect is important. If they respect you, they should be like, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize it was making you feel that way. Let me change my behavior so that we can continue being friends because they value you, right? Value, right? That's another thing about friendship. You gotta have value. You gotta value your friends, right? I'm just gonna erase. But you want to value the friends you have. They gotta provide something in your life that brings you something, right? And that's the part of the transactional relationship. And don't only have transactional relationships, right? Those are cold and devoid. And there are some of those, like coworkers and bosses. You might have a transactional relationship with them. That's how the world works. But if it's your friend, don't do that, right? Don't use people. Don't be a tool. Have your boundaries. Have respect for yourself, right? You have respect for others. You need to respect yourself. So respect yourself. So value, right? Value, something valuable is being a good friend. Being a good friend is valuable to people, right? Is valuable to me. I value people who are good friends, right? And that's what you want. You want people who are good friends, right? I gave you an example of someone being a bad friend. I had a friend who I knew him since childhood, but he was flaky and he would abandon you, right? If it inconvenienced him. He would put himself in a situation where he'd promise you something, but if he had a little fit of emotions, right? Which we can go back to his childhood or whatever, but we don't need to do that. That was a friend. He left me a couple times when I really needed him. He let me down. He wasn't dependable, right? And that makes him less valuable as a friend, right? His value going down because he is not going to fight for his friends. He is not going to do that. You don't want that, right? You want people who are dependable because they are valuable friends. They're hard to find people like this. You find a good friend, right? Now don't cling onto them. You gotta have healthy, you have interdependence, right? You want an interdependent relationship. So you are still, so you could be codependent, which means you are clinging on to people, right? You don't want to cling. What you want is to be your own heart, right? And their own heart, right? Two hearts that say hi, let's be friends. Hi, hi, and then they have a bond together. They're not merging, right? You don't want them to merge, right? Like I show you some smorgasbord Frankenstein heart that is like, you are my other half, right? I need you, right? We don't want to be two halves of a whole. We want to be two wholes of a half, right? That's what we want. So we want to be interdependent. You want to go live your own life separately of your friend. I don't care if they're your best friend. You don't always need them to live. They're not your oxygen, right? Even if it feels like that. And sometimes it's okay. Sometimes you need to lean on people, right? Lean, hard time, and here's your friend over here supporting you with that, right? Hard time, right? Now you're leaning on them over here. You're this like stick that they're holding up for you, going through a hard time, right? But don't try not to put all this onto one friend, right? Ideally, you have a circle of friends, right? You can all go do stuff and support each other. You have a couple friends. You don't need to have a lot of friends, right? Some people have a lot of friends, but you can only, it's like psychologically wise, we can only have so many close ties. So be wise with the people you choose, right? It's very important that you choose good people, which I try and understand, valuable people, right? And they can provide values in other ways. Like let's say you're friends with somebody and they push you to your absolute limit, right? They see your dreams, right? You tell them, hey, this is what I want to do, right? This is where I want to be. This is how I'm going to get there. I'm kind of thinking about this and this and this, right? And they see your dreams. They see you. They see you as a person, as an ambitious, if you're ambitious person. They see what you want to do. And this could even be like, let's say you're ambitious in a video game. You want to get. I had a friend, right? Um, and we used to play video games together, and he would push me to be better, right, at the video game. So you, he pushes, or they push you towards your goals. How do they push you towards your goals, right? How do they provide? Well, they can provide insight, right? They can provide insight, outside perspective, right? Insight, outside perspective, right? So someone, let's say someone knows more about something. I have a friend, he knows more about cars than I do, and he can provide critical insights that help my life, right? And I enjoy. I wish I could provide more. Just being a useful person is how you can be a good, better friend too. I wish I could provide more insights for him, right? And also, you can see a mirror reflect. Now, me and him have a disagreement about something, but his opinion is valid, and potentially valuable if I would like to listen to him, because he goes against what I said, which is okay. You have disagreements in a relationship, which I'll talk to that in a minute. So they provide, but they also can hold you accountable. That is very key. People who hold you accountable to your best self. You want people who hold you accountable. And people who don't want to take accountability won't like that, right? Don't be that kind of person, because that shows weak character, right? You don't want to be a weak character. You want a strong character. You want to be the dependable, best person you can be. And if you don't want to be the best person, then, well, you can go sit in the corner and be sad whenever your life doesn't turn out. I'm sorry, it's how it is. And and you can be happy, but like, you got to work for your happiness. Freedom isn't free. Like, you got bills to pay, you got people to meet. If you want to have a good life, you got to work for it. So you want to be held accountable. If you're not accountable for your actions, don't be my friend. If you're not going to hold me accountable, don't be my friend, right? Because then you're enabling people. Don't enable people. Okay, what was I going to talk about? I was going to talk about, I briefly said it. Well, I forgot what I was going to talk about, but I'm going to talk about something else. Let's talk about how to get emotionally close to a friend, right? Now, a lot of people have armor on. They're like this knight person who has emotional armor and defense mechanism. This is a terrible drawing. I'm not going to show you the drawing. The drawing is bad. The drawing was it looked like a weird angel thing, stick person. It was terrible. Trust me. But they have emotional armor, right? Which is okay, right? They're guarded. They have the guards up. People take advantage of people. There's bad people in the world. People aren't ready to open up, and you know, you you're not supposed to open up immediately and dump your heart out into somebody, but you need to be able to let down your guard and your armor. Once you've let down guard a little at first, right? And now this may feel hard, especially if you have trust issues. Okay, if you have trust issues, like I can't, I gotta defend myself, all that jazz, right? Which can come from betrayals, right? But that's stuck in your nervous system. Your nervous system is telling you, hey, this happened in the past, right? This guy did this to me, and I'm scared. This guy is going to do that to me, right? But these are different people. Understand that. These are different people. Now, what you got to find out is you got to find out if this guy is another guy like this, right? And not this guy, right? Nothing wrong with either of these, but I'm using this as an example to show you different things, right? But you got to trust, but verify, right? And then as you build your bond, you got to build it. You got to build a bond by doing stuff and talking and being friends, right? That's how you build a bond, by enjoying each other's company, by helping each other through hard times, and such in the matter of living your lives together. But as you build the bond, you become closer and can open up, come closer and open up. But you can only open up if it's emotionally safe, right? If you open up and it's not emotionally safe, like let's say they're gonna bully you, or they're gonna do mean things, they're gonna say mean things, they're gonna go tell your secrets to somebody else. People are gonna tell your secrets really no matter what, bro. Let me be real. It's hard to find people. That's the way to be a good friend. Keep people's secrets, right? Even when I'm talking about my friends, I'm not even saying who they are. I'm just saying I had a friend, I had a friend, I had a friend. Right? There's no need. Don't be a drama starter. Be a good friend. Right? This is what this whole thing is about. Being a good friend. But once you let down your guard and you can truly see each other without the persona, right? And then we still have projections, who we think they are, right? And we may never see who someone truly is, right? And that's okay. It's not like they might never see us either, because we are not just this friend, right? We have projections still about who we think they are, right? Because we're building this bond, but we don't know them yet, not fully. It's hard to really know someone, especially if they're a complicated individual who's multifaceted, right? I would self-identify as a multifaceted, complicated individual. So people see parts of me, but they only really get one side, right? Or like one this, but like really I'm like this dude over here, and like I'll talk to you, and this is me still, right? This is my heart that I'm giving to you, right? But I also have my brain and my mind over here, and it's separate from my heart, or my, or I'm giving you my mind, and that's not my heart, right? So just know that we don't know truly people yet. So, but once we let down our guard and we can truly see them, at least for as much as we're allowed to be able to see them, right? Then we can accept them if we want to. We shouldn't judge them, but we don't have to accept them as friends. But we should accept them, right? We should accept them. And then we can become better friends because we know more about them. They trust us. We have mutual trust established. We have mutual trust established. So now that we have decided that they have a good character, right? Because that's what we were talking about, is having good character in the beginning. Now that we've established that our friends are, if we have a good character and our friends have a good character, and that we're safe to be emotionally close to them, and we can give and take, right? We can help them when they need help. They can help us when we need help, and they will do that, right? And they'll be there for us when we're down, and we'll be there. See, whenever I said that they'll hold you up, you got to hold people up too, right? They need to be able to lean on you as well. And then once we get all that, that is like a friendship, and we should be loyal. Loyalty. Loyalty is important. Be loyal. Once you're a good friend, you should be loyal. And once you have a good friend, you should be loyal to them. But don't be a fool. Be loyal to yourself first. I'm not saying be selfish. Be a little selfish, but don't sacrifice yourself for a friend unless you're deciding that is what you want to do. And a lot of people will do that because that's what their nervous system tells them to do, and that's what they're used to. But in the real world, you can't sacrifice for everybody, and you can sacrifice a little here and there, and maybe even a big bit. But like, you need your own dreams, you need your own ambitions and stuff. So you still got to be a person. That's what I'm talking about. Don't be codependent. I wish it was a little more organized, this video, but there's basically how to be a good friend.